Greetings, my empire. Dre's here back with another video, and today we finna watch 10 Fallout vaults you'd never want to live in. You feel me now? Listen. So one of y'all sent this video to me on Discord. Now, last Fallout video we did, we learned a little bit about the vaults. Basically what we learned is the vaults were just experiments. Like, the people was going in the vaults because they think they about to be protected from the, you know what I'm saying? Well, it technically did to protect them from the nukes, right? But they was really in there because they was being experimented on. They were guinea pigs. They were test subjects. What's wrong with the Fallout world? So, top 10 worst Fallout shelters. Now, there was probably some vaults that was worse than others depending on what experiment they did. Because we learned in the last video that certain vaults had certain experiments. Like, one of them, it was like, oh, you have to kill somebody every month or something. Then when the people finally said, nah, we done killing people, they were just like, oh, great, good job. You know what I'm saying? You good people. That means the other people didn't have to die. They could have just said no from the beginning. Anyway, we finna see the top 10 worst vaults. Before we get into it, you already know I'm gonna ask you to hit the like button, subscribe, join the empire. You already know. Helps me out, helps the channel out, helps the channel grow. I appreciate the support. And without further ado, let's get in here, bro. Let's see what crazy shit Fallout got in store for us today.
In the Fallout universe, as it became clear that some kind of nuclear war was inevitable, people started crowding into these giant underground shelters known as vaults.
Yeah.
For the government and the people living inside them, they were supposed to be a lifeline for the future, mankind's ability to return to the surface and repopulate and thrive after the radiation in the air finally began to dissipate. The vaults were safe, secure, and never meant to fail, but as fans of the series know, that wasn't quite the case. What was actually going on was that Vault Tech, the guys who built all the vaults, were using the vaults to test different survival scenarios for the ones actually in charge of the project, a conspiracy of businessmen and government officials known as the Enclave, who were presumably planning on going into space or something like that. So, vaults opened early, or they were missing necessary supplies, or had key systems break early, just to see how the vault dwellers inside would respond. Most vaults actually failed miserably, and today we're talking about the absolute worst ones in the 10 Fallout vaults that made people crazy. Could be people inside, could be you, the player, either way, there's plenty of craziness going around in this one. And starting off at number 10, it's Fallout New Vegas' Vault 22. Probably one of the most unique vaults in a Fallout game. It's, well, the Plant Vault. It's a pretty unique site compared to the rest of the Mojave Wasteland, and that's for sure. The actual goal of the vault, however, isn't nearly as sinister as many of the others. It was meant to be a green vault, one that would be sustained by plants, so actually useful survival research for once.
Okay, that don't sound that bad.
If you look at the state of the place, it's pretty obvious things didn't go exactly to plan.
Junk got
the mad
overgrown.
Scientists at Big MT donated some spores meant for pest control, but, well, plant monsters. The pest control was a little too effective because everyone in the vault was killed by them, leaving the shambling monsters in the place to wander the overgrown halls of what ended up just being another failed vault.
So did the plants mutate them, or did the plants create mutations that killed them? Bro, they're pest control. The humans were the pet. Like, dang. That's tragic.
It's not exactly madness-inducing, but it's pretty crazy and unique as far as vaults go.
Man, I would have survived. All I need is the handy blinker tool. Feel me?
Number 9 is Fallout 3's Vault 92, probably one of the creepiest and most mysterious vaults in the entire series. This vault contains some of the world's best musicians, and you can even find a recording studio in there. It doesn't take much investigating to find that something went horribly wrong. So if this happened in real life, though,
people like, who's a good musician? Why can't I think of a good musician? Ice JJ Fish would be in this vault. Listen, Ice JJ, bro, it's something about Chica. You can't tell me that wasn't a banger. You can't. You wasn't grooving out to, come on, don't lie to me. You don't have to. Bro, this is a safe place. You was banging out to the Ice JJ Fish. Like, come on.
As mysterious notes referencing a white noise used to plant suggestions in people's head, I mean, you can find them all over the place. Another log shows someone's mental deterioration. As the days go by, their spelling and grammar just get worse and worse. And when you find the overseer's terminal, it becomes clear what was happening in the vault. They were playing a tone all the time that would affect people's behavior in order to see if they could create mind-controlled super soldiers. There's even one log where he admits to planting a suggestion in someone to just go berserk, and it took 20 security guards to take the guy down. So you could probably see where the things devolve from here. This rage suggestion begins to spread uncontrollably, and the infected fight the uninfected. Some try to escape, some stay. But obviously, when you arrive, there's nothing but skeletons and mirelurks.
So it's basically like that stand from, if you watch JoJo, that stand that made all the prisoners like go crazy. Basically like that, what they saying.
Being one of the most immersive vaults with an interesting and creepy mystery surrounding it, this vault definitely belongs on the list.
That's crazy.
Moving on to number 8 in
Playing
Fallout
a sound
4,
that
Vault
all
75,
the time that makes you go crazy.
The Children's Vault. This place, located below the Malden Middle
Not
School,
the
was created
kids.
to enhance the gene pool and create stronger and smarter people using a ruthless method of weeding out the weak. If you
just the
want an
white
idea
room, like-
of just how bad this vault was, keep in mind pretty much the first thing that happened there. The parents were separated from the children, and then all of the parents were executed. Then the remaining security and science staff of the vault put the children through torturous tests, both mental and physical, in preparation for when they would, quote, graduate and be sent out into the wasteland. Of course, the graduation was even more sinister than that. If they were smart enough, they would be brought onto the science team, while anyone they decided was too weak would be killed secretly after their graduation ceremony. Even some of the strongest students were killed instead of let out in the wasteland so they could harvest and study their genetic material. The actual reason the vault collapsed is kind of vague, actually, but knowing how things were going, it's pretty safe to say there was probably
this
some
should have
kind
been
of
an
student
uprising, bro.
uprising,
These
and
higher ups is
everyone
out
left
of
were
pocket.
Probably killed. Rating the vaults purely by evil, like this would be pretty high up there. It's pretty bad. Moving on to number 7, Fallout 3's Vault 108, the Gary Vault. Yeah, you go into a creepy, very dark vault where nothing seems to work and there's garbage and junk laying around. It's spooky already.
Bro, every vault he's been in just be dead bodies on the floor, bro. Like,
but as you continue, some weird
Can I see a clean vault?
suddenly attacks you. The only thing he says is Gary. Yeah, it's a vault filled with Gary clones, and they're mostly all unarmed and are pretty pathetic. It's kind of creepy, but weirdly
why did that
funny
scare
at the
me a
same
little
time,
bit? What if
and the
somebody
vault
just
gives
runs at you
almost
from the
no
dark and
clues
call you
as to why
Gary?
there's so many clones of one guy.
Wait, hold
the
on,
most you
that
find
called
is a
me-
holotape
that's a
from the
little bit
cloning
scary.
lab talking about how the clones are hostile to non-clones, and that they're planning on getting rid of some of the clones to make room for other experiments. And obviously that didn't go very well, because it is Gary as far as the eye can see in this place. It's weird, it's creepy, but it's also completely ridiculous and did get laughs out of me, so basically, yeah, Fallout.
Say, Gary, yo.
At number 6 is
I wanna
Fallout
be in the
New
Gary Vault.
Vegas'
That's the coolest
Vault
one.
11. There's a bit of a bitter irony about Vault 11 that's both
Dead
tragic
bodies,
and darkly
skeletons.
hilarious. It's maybe the most interesting vault in the entire series, just by story alone. There's no interesting enemies or weird twists in the vault, like that drugs you when you enter, or jumps out from you in the shadows. Just a lot of logs to read, and a lot of exploration to do. The first thing that becomes immediately clear is that people in this vault really don't want to be Overseer. Then you find out about the yearly elections, where people are elected by the community for Overseer, but they only pick people they don't like. As you soon find out, that's because the Overseer has to, at the end of their year-long term, be sacrificed in order for the vault.
This is the vault bro was talking about in the last video. This is the one.
5. If no one is sacrificed, they're told
We
everyone
already
in the
know
vault
about this
will
one.
die. Different voting blocks begin to form. and people in the vault viciously fight for control over who gets to decide.
As long as Gary don't become overseer,
things start
I'm
to
cool.
get really ugly and people start killing each other, and that's the end of the vault. But if you explore the overseer's office, you'll find one last cruel twist of the knife. You go down the Hall of Sacrifice to see what happens. It leads to a room that instructs you to sit. After some hollow words about living a good life, the walls begin to move to reveal a battery of turrets and robots that'll easily overwhelm you if you continue sitting down. Fight them off, access the computer, and you find out the ironic twist. Nothing would have happened if the vault refused to perform the sacrifice. Instead, a little automated message would play congratulating them for their commitment to human life. Another happy
those people
Fallout
didn't have to
ending,
die.
Wait. People should know what happened. They could learn from it. If there's anyone out there at all, I hope they never have to find out. Ready, Harry? No, wait!
He's cooked.
And at number 5 is Fallout 4's Far Harbor with Vault 118. This vault, built underneath the Cliff's Edge Hotel, was going to be a pressure cooker where working class families would be stuffed into an unfinished second wing of the vault, while 10 super rich families would occupy the first vault and be tended to by robot servants. Classic vault setup, right? Fully into an unfinished second wing of the vault was going to be a pressure cooker where working class families would be stuffed into an unfinished second wing of the vault, while 10 super rich families would occupy the first vault and be tended to.
I already get it. The working class families is gonna kill the rich families because it's like, why y'all living so good and we living like that? I'm already seeing the conflict.
Robot servants. Classic vault setup, right? Fully on class lines. The problem, I guess, that never actually happened. Instead, some specific families bought out the vault, and when it reached a snag securing funding, they used it for their own purposes. What purpose, might you ask? Putting their brains into robots, of course. So yeah, this vault is absolutely crazy outside of its intended goal. Instead of being a social experiment, it's filled with completely nuts robo-brain robots who all want you to solve a murder mystery, like a classic parlor murder mystery where everyone's a suspect. And, well, let's just say it's completely ridiculous because they're all robots who say stupid stuff. Probably the most outwardly humorous vault in the entire series. This is a really amusing twist on the usual vault formula.
That's certainly a projected interpretation.
Number 4.
That one, it wasn't that. I'll probably put that one lower on the list if I was making a list. I mean, maybe these aren't in order. So, but that one was that because they did it to themselves, basically.
The Fallout 1
wasn't really
Los
like,
Angeles test vault,
you know what I'm saying?
which is of course not an actual vault, but still one of the creepiest locations in the game. This vault, which you find under the cathedral, is actually a test vault, like I said.
What type of Fallout game is this?
Demonstration. But none of that matters. What makes this place so crazy is what's inside. It's the Master's secret base of operations. And he's probably the creepiest bad guy in the entire Fallout series, let's be frank. I mean, look at him. He's a head on a screen with an eyeball hanging out. And the early CGI effects make it more creepy rather than less. And the whole place is covered in the Master's
not judge
guts.
a person by its tentacle, but by its character.
The closer you get to the Overseer's office. And when you confront him, it becomes increasingly clear that the Master isn't some brilliant mastermind. He's just a completely insane pile of goo. Famously, it's possible to talk the pathetic creature into killing itself instead of following through with its plan to turn everyone into a super mutant. And, I mean, when you look and act like this thing, it's probably time to call it quits.
Join.
Die.
Join.
Die.
At number 3 is Fallout 76's Vault 94. This is a vault that made the players mad, not the residents, because as you know, it's Fallout 76. Which we all know is safe to say had a very rocky start, both technically and in the way the developers have handled the Fallout IP. Going into Fallout 76, we expected there to be a few vaults you could explore, like basically every previous game. So finding out that the only other vault in the game isn't actually like a unique location in a world that you can actually explore, but instead a 1 to 4 player raid dungeon that's about getting sweet loot, kinda ticked people off. I mean, one of the only decent parts of Fallout 76 is being able to explore this massive world and read some interesting lore about its history.
What?
Being able to explore this people.
Oh, okay. So this is an open world game, but that vault is like an instance. So, would you still be able to explore, or if everybody else leave, you get booted out too.
Off. I mean, one of the only decent parts of Fallout 76 is being able to explore this massive world and read some interesting lore about its history. Vaults are made for that kind of environmental storytelling, but instead of that, we get this goofy multi-step raid dungeon that doesn't really even work well when awkwardly grafted onto what is, frankly, the Gamebryo engine still. We know they've used different names through the years. They're not getting off the hook. It's Gamebryo. And here's the thing, there is a story to this vault, but who's going to see it? There's holotapes and notes in here. Unless you play on Novice, you're on a time limit. And you're getting attacked from every single angle by constantly respawning enemies. The whole thing just seems like the antithesis to Fallout, which is probably why with the Wastelanders update, they're completely removing vault raids from the game. Hopefully, this means Fallout 76 will finally get some normal vaults to explore instead of whatever you want to call this nonsense. At number 2, it's Fallout Tactics Vault Zero.
So that
Fallout
one
Tactics
was
kind of
bad
the black sheep
because
of
they made the
series.
players mad.
Fallout Brotherhood of Steel is kind of the loser burnout of the series. Pretty well dismissed as being non-canon by Fallout fans when it was released. It's since been somewhat reevaluated considering
Wait, what? A game came out of Fallout and y'all just said, nah, it's not canon. This shit's so ass, it just can't be canon.
Considering some of the less than impressive story turns that later Fallout games from Bethesda have taken. Still, it's definitely the weird one. It's not exactly an RPG, it's a tactical strategy game where you move your soldiers around these massive mission zones, taking on pretty much everything from the Fallout universe. And your commanding officers are Lee Emery, which is always a plus in my book. You never actually encounter a vault in this game until the final mission, when you're tasked with shutting down Vault Zero, the home base of this crazy army of robots intent on destroying humanity. A bunch of geniuses had their brains connected to a supercomputer called the Calculator and are carrying out the pacification protocol, which was supposed to make the wasteland safer for humans, but instead they're just killing humans because robots, that's sort of what they do. The whole thing's really
on the way there, bro. AI is getting too advanced.
Twist. They got R. Lee Emery's brain too, and you have to fight him. I honestly couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. And finally, at number 1, Fallout 1's Vault 13. The OG vault, the vault to start them all, the first vault that you see in the very first Fallout game. The problem with this one was simple. A broken water chip, which is where the relatively humble origins of the franchise began. But that's not the reason this vault is on this list. No, there's actually a much crazier reason found within this bizarre Easter egg in Fallout 2. Randomly, while exploring the map in Fallout 2, you'll come across these random encounters, where the developers usually like to hide their pop culture references. This one, called the Guardian of Forever, is a weird rock that you can enter into, and doing so sends you back in time to Vault 13 so you can sabotage the water chip. Ever heard of a stable time loop paradox? Well, don't think about it too hard because it will make you crazy. Of course, that's all just a joke. The time-traveling rock portal thing is taken directly from the classic Star Trek episode, City on the Edge of Forever. I mean, it literally looks the same, and it's literally called the Guardian of Forever, which is exactly what they called it in the Star Trek episode. The whole thing is a very elaborate Easter egg, but it's a good, if not really odd one. And again, if you think about it too hard, it will drive you nuts. And I'm willing to bet you'd be hard-pressed to find vaults crazier than these. If you'd agree and have something to say about any of these vaults, or want to put a vault forward yourself, leave us a comment, let us know what you're thinking. And if you like this video, don't forget to click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time.
I ain't gonna lie, gang. Out of all these votes, which one you're picking? Like, which one are you going with? Like, if you had to get in one of these votes, which one? I'm picking Gary. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I'll pick Gary. I mean, I don't know. I'll probably have to disguise myself to look like Gary. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, how I'm gonna pull it off, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Gary, feel me? Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed, man. If y'all did, make sure I hit the like button, subscribe, join the empire. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite part. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Dre's Empire out. I'm gonna see y'all.
Gotta hold my ground. Smile left and the lost and found. I don't cheese, I'ma walk and frown. Hey, you up, can you hold me down? Spin it up, cause I know you round. Left on, what happens now? Been around, look what I got. Back wound and a face on clown. And it's cool. Got a pill for you if you choose to swing that.